The story opens on Zephyria, a harsh and dangerous planet bathed in the harsh light of twin suns. Its jagged cliffs, alien forests, and swirling mists form the perfect hunting ground for Solara, the deadliest huntress in the galaxy. From a young age, she had been trained to survive where most would die, learning to read the slightest movements in the wind, the softest vibrations in the ground, and the faintest rustle of alien foliage. Her people revered strength and cunning, and she had surpassed them all. Her reputation spread across planets like a shadow of fear. No prey had ever survived her claws. On this day, Solara is in her element. The alien forest around her pulses with life, a living web of predators and prey, and she moves through it like a phantom. Her senses are heightened, attuned to every sound and scent. The air smells of ozone and scorched earth, carrying the subtle tang of blood from creatures she has hunted before. Her sharp claws scrape silently against stone as she navigates narrow ledges and twisted roots. Her muscles are taut, primed for a strike, her eyes scanning for the slightest movement. Every hunt she undertakes is a dance of precision and lethality, a deadly game in which failure is impossible. Suddenly, smoke curls upward from the valley below, dark against the bright sky. Solara's instincts flare. A crash landing is rare in these remote lands. Even more unusual is that no alien scavengers or Zephyrian patrols are in sight. Her curiosity is piqued, but she approaches cautiously. The smell of burned metal and charred composites mixes with the alien flora, sharp and acrid. As she draws closer, her sharp eyes pick out a figure emerging from the wreckage, a human. Humans are not known for thriving in hostile environments like Zephyria, especially without protective gear or support. And yet, here is one staggering toward her, bloodied, scorched, and unbroken. Solara crouches in the shadows, studying this anomaly. His movements are awkward, uneven, yet there is something in his posture that unnerves her. He is alive, yes, but not weak. There is defiance in his eyes, a spark that no ordinary prey would have. Every fiber of her training tells her that this being is vulnerable, that the hunt is over before it begins. Yet, with every step, he survives. Every slip, every stumble, he regains his footing, refusing to succumb. Her curiosity grows into irritation. This is no ordinary prey, and the usual thrill of the hunt is tempered by confusion. Solara decides to strike. She launches herself from the shadows, claws extended, moving with a speed that would be fatal to any other being. Her strike is precise, calculated, meant to incapacitate within seconds. But the human, Jonah Cade, reacts with an almost unnatural agility. He rolls across jagged rocks, dodging her attack as if anticipating her every movement. Her first real challenge, and it's not just his survival instinct that shocks her, it's his ability to adapt mid-combat, to turn potential death into opportunity. He counters with a small plasma blade, slashing at her legs as he rolls. Sparks flare where his weapon grazes her armor. Solara snaps her claws defensively, surprised by the intensity and precision of his movements. Her prey does not panic. Instead, he grins, blood and soot streaking his face, his expression one of sheer defiance. "I'm not dead yet," he says, voice hoarse but firm, almost taunting. This moment is a revelation for Solara. No prey has ever spoken in such a manner. No opponent has met her aggression with such audacity. Every instinct honed over years screams at her, this human is different. There is strength in his survival, a raw, untrained courage that defies logic. And that is dangerous, not just for her, but for what it signals. In a galaxy where hunters dominate, prey survives only by being predictable. Jonah is unpredictable, a force that cannot be calculated, a wild card in a game she has always controlled. Solara realizes in an instant that this hunt is unlike any other. Her claws are sharp, her body lethal, and her mind calculating, but against Jonah, all of that may not be enough. She lunges again, faster, more focused, yet every strike he evades, every maneuver he counters. He refuses to be contained, refuses to die, and refuses to submit. The opening scene ends on a tense knife edge. Solara, the ultimate predator, facing a human who should be prey, but refuses to die. The planet itself seems to hold its breath as two forces, predator and indomitable human will prepare to collide. Solara, for the first time, feels something she has never felt before. Curiosity mixed with respect, and a flicker of something more primal. Challenge. The hunt has begun, but the outcome is no longer certain. Part 2 shifts from the immediate hunt on Zephyria to the broader cosmic struggle, revealing that humanity faces near extinction at the hands of the Zephyrians. While Solara hunts Jonah on the planet's surface, humanity's fleets are stretched thin, colonies under siege, and morale hanging by a thread. Zephyrians are not merely skilled hunters. They are a galactic empire of warriors, ruthless and organized, crushing resistance wherever it arises. Humanity's survival depends not on raw strength alone, but on adaptability, ingenuity, and the willingness to take risks no other species would dare. Captain Marcus Vale commands the Resolute, one of humanity's last functional warships, tasked with protecting the remnants of human colonies and striking wherever Zephyrian forces are vulnerable. Marcus is a veteran commander, his hair streaked with gray but his mind razor-sharp. His crew is tired, battle-worn, yet every man and woman on board has one thing in common: they refuse to give up. Marcus has spent countless nights planning ambushes, knowing that every sortie could be their last. His fleet is outnumbered, outgunned, yet his tactical brilliance has kept humanity alive longer than anyone expected. On Zephyria, Jonah Cade's presence is not merely a curiosity, it represents hope. News of a human surviving the deadliest Huntress has reached scattered colonies, igniting whispers of resistance and courage. Jonah is not trained in alien combat at the same level as Solara, but his ingenuity allows him to survive. He sets traps using the environment, improvises weapons from wreckage, and manipulates alien fauna to create diversions. Every encounter forces Solara to rethink her strategy. Jonah is learning from each attack, predicting her moves, and countering them in ways that defy conventional logic. The human fleet's movements in orbit mirror Jonah's survival on the surface. Marcus executes daring strikes against Zephyrian supply lines, choosing unconventional routes, exploiting gaps in enemy patrols, and hitting critical infrastructure with precision. He uses cloaking technology to hide entire squadrons in asteroid fields, launching surprise attacks that decimate Zephyrian convoys. His tactics are unorthodox, sometimes bordering on reckless, but they work. Humanity's survival is not guaranteed by superior firepower, it's their unpredictability, their willingness to fight against impossible odds, that makes them a dangerous adversary. Back on Zephyria, Jonah adapts with the same ingenuity Marcus displays in space. He uses alien flora that emits blinding light as a makeshift flare, luring predators into the path of Solara's attacks, forcing her to adjust mid-hunt. He rigs plasma charges to collapse cliffs, creating obstacles that even Solara must navigate carefully. Each trap slows her down, forcing her to rely on her wits rather than brute strength alone. Solara begins to see him not as prey, but as a worthy opponent. Her frustration grows with every failed attempt to end the hunt, replaced slowly by an unexpected respect. Jonah's survival becomes a psychological game as well. He learns to read Solara's instincts, baiting her into mistakes, using her pride against her. Every clash leaves both combatants bruised and bleeding, but neither yields. The human's resilience is more than physical. It is mental and emotional. He refuses to panic, refuses to despair, and refuses to die, even when faced with the deadliest predator in the galaxy. His defiance mirrors humanity's larger struggle, a species pushed to the brink, yet refusing to surrender. Meanwhile, Marcus's fleet engages in high-stakes orbital battles. Fighters dart between energy beams, capital ships fire massive plasma cannons, and Zephyrian warlords underestimate human unpredictability. Marcus's strategy emphasizes disruption. Attack supply lines, force the enemy to react, and exploit their overconfidence. Each engagement is tense and chaotic, with humans often outnumbered 10-1. Losses are heavy, but morale rises with each successful strike. Humanity's strength lies not in sheer numbers, but in adaptability, courage, and the refusal to die quietly. The parallels between Jonah on the planet and humanity's fleet in space become clear. Survival against superior forces requires more than skill. It requires creativity, courage, and defiance. Jonah represents humanity's spirit on a personal scale, while Marcus orchestrates it on a galactic scale. Together, they embody the idea that no enemy is truly invincible when faced with a species willing to endure, improvise, and fight against impossible odds. By the end of Part 2, the tension is palpable. Solara is forced to reconsider her approach, Marcus prepares his next daring strike, and Jonah continues to survive in ways that defy expectation. Humanity is battered, outnumbered, and on the edge of annihilation, yet the story makes it clear, as long as humans refuse to die, victory is not impossible. The stage is set for escalating confrontations, both on Zephyria and across the stars, as the clash between unstoppable hunter and indomitable human intensifies. Intensifies the confrontation between Solara, the deadliest huntress, and Jonah Cade, the human who refuses to die, while the larger galactic conflict looms in the background. As Jonah survives encounter after encounter, the narrative shifts into a tense game of cat and mouse that tests not only physical prowess, but tactical ingenuity and psychological endurance. The setting expands beyond Zephyria's forests to its volcanic caverns, luminescent swamps and wind-swept cliffs. Each environment is hostile and unforgiving, shaped by the twin suns and extreme planetary conditions. Jonah uses these locations to his advantage, demonstrating an improvisational genius that defies Solara's expectations. In the volcanic caverns, for example, he manipulates unstable magma flows, creating walls of heat and smoke that obscure his movements while forcing Solara to navigate perilous terrain. He sets traps from the jagged obsidian, rigging primitive explosives that erupt with fire and shrapnel, testing Solara's reflexes and endurance. Every maneuver challenges her, eroding the confidence she has always relied upon as the ultimate predator. Solara, initially confident that the hunt would be swift, finds herself adapting on the fly. Her attacks become more calculated, but Jonah's unpredictability pushes her to innovate as well. In the luminescent swamps, Jonah exploits native flora that emits blinding phosphorescent flashes when disturbed, creating sudden bursts of light that disorient her. Solara has never faced prey capable of thinking in 3 steps ahead, and the frustration begins to show in her body language, claws snapping more aggressively, movements slightly less controlled. Yet she is not deterred. If anything, the challenge fuels her intensity. The pursuit becomes not just physical, but psychological. Jonah learns to anticipate Solara's hunting patterns, using her instincts against her. He sets diversions, leaving false trails, and manipulating Zephyrian predators to disrupt her approach. He communicates a subtle defiance even in moments of exhaustion or injury, letting her know, through movement, glance, and speech, that surrender is not an option. Solara's curiosity, initially professional, begins to edge toward personal fascination. She recognizes the raw resilience in humans, their capacity to endure, and the spark of defiance that no Zephyrian hunter has ever encountered. As the hunt escalates, small skirmishes draw the attention of other Zephyrian forces. Patrols and minor war parties arrive, intrigued by why Solara is not completing her kill. Jonah adapts to these escalating threats with ingenuity reminiscent of the broader human fleet's tactics. He sets traps that leverage natural terrain to ambush incoming soldiers, collapsing cliffs to block reinforcements, and improvising explosives that turn the Zephyrians' confidence against them. Each confrontation strengthens his reputation as more than a survivor. He is a force that disrupts the expected order. The story emphasizes the contrast between Solara and Jonah. She is honed by tradition, trained to perfection, yet bound by expectations of how prey should behave. He is unpredictable, creative, and fueled by an unbreakable will. Their repeated clashes are intense, visceral, and fast-paced, with blades flashing, claws tearing, and energy discharges illuminating the alien terrain. Jonah's improvisation forces Solara to reconsider her strategy, making her attacks sharper, faster, and increasingly inventive. Their struggle becomes almost symbiotic. His survival drives her evolution as a hunter, while her skill pushes him to adapt faster than any human would be expected to. Ultimately, The tension crescendos when Solara corners Jonah in the ruins of an ancient Zephyrian city. The buildings are partially collapsed, with jagged towers jutting into the sky like skeletal fingers. Here, the narrative slows briefly to explore psychological stakes. Solara questions what it means for a being to refuse death, to fight against inevitability. Jonah, weakened but unyielding, locks eyes with her and delivers a defining line. "Because I'm human, it is both a statement of defiance and an embodiment of the broader HFY theme, the human capacity for resilience against insurmountable odds. This moment crystallizes the core tension of Part 3. It is no longer a simple hunt. Solara faces a prey who challenges not only her skills, but her understanding of strength and survival. Jonah is no longer just surviving. He is actively shaping the hunt, exploiting weaknesses, and forcing the deadliest predator in the galaxy to respect, even fear, his tenacity. The story leaves the reader on edge, with both characters battered and exhausted, yet neither willing to yield. The stage is set for the next phase: escalating stakes, the arrival of elite Zephyrian forces, and the forging of an unexpected bond between hunter and hunted. Escalates the stakes dramatically, combining intense planetary combat with epic space battles. Humanity is no longer just struggling for survival. They are actively striking back, demonstrating the ingenuity, courage, and unyielding spirit that define the HFY theme. Meanwhile, on Zephyria, Solara and Jonah's hunt transforms into an uneasy alliance as external pressures mount. The narrative opens in orbit above Zephyria, where Captain Marcus Vale orchestrates a high-risk assault on Zephyrian supply lines. His fleet, though vastly outnumbered, leverages stealth and superior tactics. Cloaking technology allows human vessels to vanish against asteroid belts and space debris, only to strike without warning. Plasma cannons and missile barrages tear through Zephyrian convoys, but each victory comes at a cost. Human ships are fragile compared to the massive alien dreadnoughts, requiring precise maneuvers and split-second timing. Marcus coordinates with his fighter wings, who weave through energy beams and debris storms, striking key points in the enemy formations to destabilize the entire fleet. Below, on Zephyria's surface, the pressure intensifies. Solara faces a moral and tactical dilemma. Jonah is wounded, but his unbroken spirit forces her to reconsider her priorities. Normally, prey would die quickly. Hesitation is unheard of for her. But now, enemy Zephyrian squads are converging on the planet to eliminate the unexpected human threat. Solara's instincts shift from predator to protector, not out of compassion, but necessity. Jonah's survival has become critical to their immediate tactical success. For the first time, Solara relies on teamwork, not dominance. Jonah, aware of the gravity of the situation, uses every resource available. He rigs plasma charges along cliff edges to channel incoming squads into kill zones. Alien fauna, previously neutral or aggressive, are manipulated into disrupting enemy lines, creating chaos among Zephyrian soldiers. His improvisation is brutal and precise, turning the environment into a weapon. Each encounter leaves both Jonah and Solara battered, yet more synchronized in combat. She begins to anticipate his moves, not to exploit them as a predator, but to protect and coordinate with him. The dynamic shifts. Hunter and hunted become a unit against a common threat. Space and planetary battles begin to converge in a high-stakes choreography. As Marcus's fleet engages Zephyrian warships above, his signals coordinate with Solara and Jonah below, timing explosive traps to weaken orbital defenses. Plasma cannon fire reflects off Zephyria's oceans and mountains, illuminating the battlefield in bursts of brilliant light. Zephyrian dreadnoughts respond with overwhelming force, targeting the planet and its surface defenders. Solara and Jonah fight through collapsing ruins, dodging energy beams from above and avoiding reinforcements moving through treacherous terrain. Every second is life or death. Jonah is hit by an energy discharge during one skirmish, sending him sprawling into jagged rocks. Solara reacts instinctively, shielding him from a volley of alien soldiers. Her claws tear through attackers with deadly precision, but each strike takes a toll on her body as well. They are both exhausted, bleeding, yet neither is willing to stop. Jonah's grit and adaptability push Solara to her limits, forcing her to innovate on the spot. while her unmatched combat skill ensures they survive when it seems impossible. Amid the chaos, the story highlights humanity's resilience. Marcus coordinates a devastating maneuver. Human fighters, using asteroid fields as cover, launch a surprise attack that cripples Zephyrian capital ships. The human's strategy emphasizes intelligence and unpredictability rather than brute force. Similarly, Jonah's survival tactics on the surface mirror the fleet's strategy: outthink, improvise, and strike where the enemy is weakest. This parallel reinforces the HFY theme. Humans succeed not because they are strongest, but because they refuse to be defeated, even when outmatched. The culmination of Part 4 occurs when Solara carries Jonah to a partially destroyed Zephyrian temple, an extraction point Marcus has indicated. They move through collapsing stone and fire-lit forests, evading patrols and leveraging environmental hazards against enemies. Explosions from orbital bombardments shake the ground, raining debris and disorienting attackers. Each step forward is a testament to endurance, courage, and mutual reliance. Solara begins to see Jonah not as prey, but as a partner, a human whose defiance embodies the unyielding spirit she never expected to encounter. Plunges the story into its climactic confrontation, where personal stakes, galactic warfare, and emotional intensity collide. Solara and Jonah, having survived relentless hunting and chaotic planetary battles, now face the most dangerous adversary yet, the Zephyrian Queen herself. She is not only the ruler of the Hunter caste, but the ultimate embodiment of her species, lethal perfection, a warrior whose skill surpasses even Solara's. Her arrival escalates the tension to its breaking point. As the very survival of humanity in this sector and Jonah's life hang in the balance, the Queen descends in a sleek, bioengineered dropship that glows with alien energy. Her armor, alive with iridescent light, shifts and pulses with movement, giving her both defensive power and terrifying agility. Her presence immediately dominates the battlefield. Solara, despite her own unparalleled skill, feels the familiar thrill of fear for the first time, an acknowledgement that this opponent may be beyond any prior experience. Yet there is no hesitation. Survival and duty demand action. Jonah, though wounded and exhausted, refuses to retreat. He recognizes that the Queen's arrival changes the dynamics completely. Every resource he has improvised, traps, explosives, terrain advantages, must now be leveraged for both defense and offensive disruption. Using ruined structures and jagged cliffs as cover, he sets plasma charges to destabilize her landing zones, channeling the Queen into kill zones where Solara can engage her more effectively. His tactical mind, honed through survival, mirrors that of Marcus's fleet above, proving once again that human ingenuity thrives even under extreme pressure. The battle begins with blinding speed. Solara charges first, claws extended, meeting the Queen in mid-air as energy arcs between them. Their clash is cataclysmic. Claws, blades, and energy pulses collide with bone-crushing force. Jonah uses his environment to force the Queen into tight spaces, collapsing towers and triggering explosive traps that disrupt her footing. He fires plasma shots with precision, targeting the Queen's energy shields at critical moments to create openings for Solara. Every move is a coordinated improvisational ballet, blending human unpredictability with alien lethality. The Queen adapts quickly, her attacks devastating and precise. She slashes through structures, sending debris crashing into Jonah, forcing him to dive and roll, narrowly avoiding death multiple times. Solara counters with unmatched speed, her reflexes allowing her to shield Jonah and deflect strikes meant for him. The synergy between them grows, forged in desperation and the need to survive. The hunter who once saw him as prey now fights alongside him as an equal, relying on his ingenuity to augment her raw skill. As the fight rages, the landscape itself becomes part of the battle. Collapsing ruins, volcanic fissures, and energy bursts from orbital bombardments create a chaotic battlefield. Solara's strategy evolves in real time. She draws on her experience, reading the Queen's patterns while also anticipating Jonah's improvisations. The Queen, though supremely skilled, is unprepared for the unpredictable human tactics that continuously shift the battlefield against her. Jonah's presence disrupts her calculated dominance, turning what should have been a one-sided confrontation into a desperate struggle. At a critical moment, the Queen attempts a devastating energy strike aimed at both Jonah and Solara. Jonah sacrifices position to redirect the attack using a collapsed spire, buying Solara a critical opening. With precise coordination, Solara pins the Queen while Jonah fires a plasma shot directly into her energy core. The Queen falters, staggering, her defenses collapsing under the combined force of human strategy and alien skill. With a final, explosive surge of energy, she is defeated, plummeting into the abyss below. Her fall signals not just a personal victory, but a symbolic triumph of human determination and creativity against an overwhelmingly superior force. The aftermath is both victorious and sobering. Solara and Jonah, battered and bloodied, survey the ruin of the battlefield. Solara's perception of humans has fundamentally shifted. Jonah embodies a resilience and resourcefulness she never expected. The human refusal to die, to adapt, and to challenge the natural hierarchy of predator and prey has proven decisive. Above, Marcus's fleet emerges from the orbital chaos, having dealt decisive blows to the remaining Zephyrian forces, consolidating humanity's fragile but hard-won advantage in the sector. This part of the story underscores the core HFY theme. Humans prevail not through sheer strength, but through ingenuity, courage, and an indomitable will. The climax resolves the personal conflict of Solara and Jonah while simultaneously demonstrating humanity's capacity to overcome overwhelming odds. Part 5 combines visceral combat, tactical brilliance, and emotional resonance, leaving readers with a sense of exhilaration and anticipation for the story's resolution. The stage is now set for Part 6, where humanity's resilience and the evolving bond between hunter and human will define the conclusion, serves as the resolution of the story, tying together the epic struggle between humanity and the Zephyrians, while emphasizing the transformation of Solara, Jonah, and the broader implications of human resilience. After the climactic battle against the Zephyrian Queen, the immediate threat is neutralized, but the echoes of conflict reverberate across Zephyria and the galaxy. Humanity has won a decisive, symbolic victory, yet the cost and stakes of survival remain ever present, highlighting the fragility and brilliance of their triumph. The opening scenes of Part 6 depict the aftermath of the battlefield. Smoke rises from collapsed ruins. The twin suns of Zephyria cast long shadows across scorched cliffs, and the ground is littered with remnants of the Queen's elite warriors. Solara stands beside Jonah, surveying the destruction with a mixture of exhaustion and newfound respect. Her perception of humans has fundamentally shifted. Once she viewed them as weak and expendable, prey to be hunted or disregarded. Now Jonah embodies the essence of human endurance, ingenuity, and defiance. His refusal to die, despite every physical and psychological obstacle, has redefined what it means to survive. Jonah, bloodied and limping from his injuries, is the embodiment of resilience. Every scar and bruise tells a story of survival against odds that should have been fatal. He has not only endured, but actively influenced the outcome of the hunt, redirecting the course of events that even a top-tier Zephyrian hunter could not have predicted. His ability to combine quick thinking, environmental improvisation, and unyielding courage demonstrates the central HFY principle. Humans thrive through adaptability and the refusal to submit. Above Zephyria, Marcus Vale and the human fleet continue their orbital dominance. Though battle-worn, the fleet has crippled the Zephyrian forces in this sector. Capital ships lie in ruins, fighters streak through space on last-mission sorties, and energy beams arc through vacuum like lightning. Marcus, observing from the command deck of the Resolute, notes that the key to success was unpredictability. Every maneuver exploited weaknesses, every risk calculated to maximize impact. The combination of fleet strategy and Jonah's ground-based ingenuity illustrates the seamless connection between individual resilience and collective human ingenuity. As Solara assists Jonah toward the extraction point, their dialogue reflects the evolution of their relationship. Once hunter and prey, they are now equals, bonded by mutual respect and survival. Solara's voice carries a rare softness tinged with awe. You refused to die, even when it seemed impossible. Jonah, his body battered, offers a wry smile, because survival isn't about strength alone. It's about refusing to give up. This moment crystallizes the emotional core of the story. Humans endure not just through physical capability, but through spirit, determination, and an unshakable will to live and fight. The final confrontation with the Queen has left Zephyria altered. Her fall shattered the hierarchy of the Hunters, creating a power vacuum that Solara and her peers must navigate. Solara, once driven solely by instinct and pride, now contemplates responsibility, morality, and the potential for collaboration rather than dominance. Her transformation mirrors humanity's broader journey in the story, from the brink of annihilation to a position where ingenuity, courage, and alliance define strength. Jonah's survival also signals hope for humanity's colonies. Reports of his exploits spread across the sector, inspiring morale among scattered populations. Humans who had feared Zephyrian invincibility now see that resilience, cunning, and tenacity can tip the balance, even when facing foes that seem unstoppable. The story emphasizes that heroism is not about perfection or overwhelming power, but about refusing to surrender in the face of inevitable odds. The narrative closes with a quiet yet powerful reflection on victory and continuity. Solara and Jonah, standing together on a cliff overlooking the twin suns, understand that the battle was both personal and symbolic. Solara's journey from predator to ally parallels humanity's triumph through creativity and defiance. Jonah's refusal to die is emblematic of human persistence in the universe, undaunted, adaptive, and profoundly courageous. Their survival signals not only the endurance of individuals, but the resilience of an entire species. The story's final imagery combines action and emotion. Orbital flares and debris from the fleet's strikes illuminate Zephyria's surface, painting Jonah and Solara in a heroic glow. The winds sweep across ruined forests and shattered temples, carrying the promise of renewal. Humans have survived, adapted, and emerged victorious, not because of superiority and strength, but because of ingenuity, courage, and indomitable will. Solara's gaze toward Jonah conveys understanding and admiration, hinting at an enduring bond forged through shared struggle. Part 6 concludes with an unmistakable HFY message. Even in the harshest environments, against the deadliest foes, humanity's unique combination of resilience, adaptability, and determination ensures survival. The story leaves the reader exhilarated by the action, inspired by the human spirit, and satisfied by the resolution of both personal and galactic stakes. It closes on a note of hope, transformation, and enduring courage, emphasizing that heroism emerges not from being unstoppable, but from refusing to die.